Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now picture this, you're stepping into your favorite convenience store, reaching for a simple bottle of water, fully expecting to hand over the usual buck or so, and the cashier rings you up for triple that amount. Your eyes widen, your heart sinks a little, and you suddenly question whether this routine purchase is even worth it. If that scenario sounds familiar, then you, my friend, are already feeling the pinch of inflation. The prices at grocery stores, gas stations, and even fast food joints are climbing higher by the day. And it's not just older folks grumbling about rising costs. Gen Zers, known for living large on small budgets, are feeling it too. But guess what? In the midst of these tough times lies a golden opportunity to reassess, reorganize, and reinforce how we manage our dollars. So buckle up, because in this video we're diving deep into how inflation is turning life upside down for Gen Z, forcing them to question everything from that daily latte habit to that dream of traveling the world in search of the next big adventure. But stick around, because it's not all doom and gloom. We'll also find out how this tough economic environment could spark some truly positive shifts in Gen Z's money mindset. Let's jump right into it. This surge in prices isn't just an abstract headline, it's hitting us where it hurts most, our wallets. Studies show that more than 3/4 of Americans, and yes, that includes our Gen Z crowd, have had to tighten their belts and cut back on spending. That new streaming subscription you were eyeing? Maybe hold off a little. Those spontaneous coffee runs? Probably time to brew something at home. And for those who had big plans, like traveling the country or even the world, delays are becoming all too common. Some people are calling it the end of so-called revenge travel, that frenzied need to escape lockdown life at any cost, because the reality of hotel rates, airfare, and even basic spending money is no longer matching the budget you meticulously saved up. In fact, nearly 2 in 5 folks say they're completely taken aback by the price of something as simple as bottled water, sometimes up to 200% more expensive than they thought. Almost 76% say takeout and food delivery are also shockingly pricey, and about 2/3 are stunned by how quickly gas costs add up. Remember those cross-country road trips you dreamed of? They might be on hold for now. Sure, we've seen bigger names like Donald Trump navigate finances on a huge scale, but how does that help when you're just trying to fill your tank without draining your checking account? The underlying message is clear. We're in for an extended period of sticker shock, and Gen Z is learning some tough lessons in money management faster than ever before. Now, if you've ever found yourself scrolling through your favorite online store late at night, adding item after item to your cart, hoping that the rush of a new purchase will somehow bury your worries about the future, well, you're not alone. In fact, around 1 out of every 5 members of Gen Z admits to doom spending, a phenomenon where the chaos of political, social, and economic uncertainty drives us to seek solace in the excitement of shopping. It's that fleeting thrill of clicking buy now that helps distract from unsettling headlines and never-ending social media debates. But here's the twist, with every new wave of inflation, those impulsive buys become more and more difficult to justify. The same t-shirt or video game that felt affordable before is suddenly out of reach. And the guilt you feel afterward? That's the real wallet punch. Because while doom spending might give you that quick dopamine hit, it can also lead to harsh financial realities at the end of the month, especially when everything from bread to electric bills has inched its way up in cost. Gen Z, by virtue of being younger and generally having fewer financial safety nets, is particularly vulnerable to these shifts. We're seeing a generation that once championed while low and living for the moment now grappling with the sobering truth that money doesn't stretch as far as it used to, and ignoring that fact could mean serious trouble down the road. But here's the bright side. Adversity often paves the way for growth, and this crisis might just be the wake-up call Gen Z needs to form better relationships with their finances. Picture this. You've been eyeing that dream vacation for months, planning to hop on a plane, check into a trendy beachside hostel, and soak in the sunsets that fill your social media feed with envy. But as the departure date creeps closer, you realize the flight costs have skyrocketed, the hostel's nightly rate has doubled, and even dining out is more expensive than you ever imagined. According to one major survey, about 3/4 of consumers, young and old alike, are making the tough decision to save money instead and put those travel plans on ice. And it's not just about vacations. Nearly 40% of people have put off home renovations or other major expenses. It's a collective shift in mindset as folks realize that in times like these, every dollar matters that much more. But here's a fascinating takeaway. This belt-tightening might actually spark some positive change. When your wallet feels the squeeze, you start to question every purchase. Do I really need that monthly box subscription? Am I actually benefiting from 5 streaming services? Could I cut back on nights out without sacrificing my social life? These questions, while a bit of a downer in the moment, can lead to a healthier financial perspective in the long run. It's almost like a forced financial detox, a moment where we're collectively rethinking our habits. And for Gen Z, who might never have gone through the pinch of a major economic crisis before, this can be a defining experience that sets them on a path towards smarter spending. So where does that leave the younger crowd who might already be feeling overwhelmed by everything from student loan balances to rent prices that eat up half their paycheck? The truth is, a whole lot of Americans, Gen Z in particular, lack solid financial literacy skills and rarely get any formal training in budgeting or investing. In one large-scale study, researchers found that only about 1 in 5 young adults feels truly confident when it comes to handling their money. That means the majority are winging it, learning on the fly, or picking up tips from social media posts that might or might not be entirely accurate. It's a tricky spot to be in, but there's no shame in acknowledging that you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you just need a straightforward starting point: how much money is flowing in, how much is going out, and what's left over at the end of the month. If that last number is negative or dangerously close to zero, alarm bells should be ringing. Because the real kicker is, inflation doesn't care how prepared you are. Prices will keep rising, and if you're not ready to adapt, you could find yourself drowning in debt or forced to make some seriously tough decisions about what you can and can't afford. But the good news is, once you decide to take charge, there are plenty of resources, from apps that track your every penny to online communities that swap tips on side hustles. Gen Z has grown up in the digital era, so using that technology to become financially savvy might be the generation's biggest superpower. Of course, one of the biggest hurdles to getting your finances in order is the fear of judgment. We're living in a world where social media frames extravagance as normal, and it's easy to feel like everyone else is doing better than you. Around 57% of people surveyed admit they judge themselves for not having enough money, and over half worry about what others might think of their bank balance. The irony is that, more often than not, nobody really cares if you're rocking designer shoes or an old pair of sneakers. They're too busy worrying about their own situation. But that doesn't stop the anxiety, does it? This is one reason more people are quietly seeking out professional financial advice rather than relying on random online influencers. Scrolling through social media for money tips can be entertaining, sure, but it can also be a bit like getting medical advice from a roadside billboard. You never really know if the information is reliable, or worse, if it's sponsored by someone just trying to sell you something. That's why we're seeing a growing trend of Gen Zers and older folks too, booking sessions with certified experts who can walk them through everything from paying off credit card debt to planning for a comfortable future. There's a liberating feeling in putting all your cards on the table and saying, "Hey, I don't have it all figured out. Show me where to start." It's a step many are finding worthwhile, if only to avoid the pitfalls of misguided advice or the paralyzing fear of not keeping up with what they think everyone else is doing. Managing money doesn't have to be a dizzying ordeal. In fact, a little structure can go a long way. One seasoned advisor suggests we move away from the set it and forget it approach. Yes, automatic bill payments and subscriptions are convenient, no more missing due dates or juggling a stack of paper checks, but the downside is you lose sight of what's actually leaving your account. Spending just a few minutes a day or an hour a week reviewing your expenses can be a game-changer. You'll see patterns you never noticed, like that monthly subscription you forgot to cancel or the fact that your online shopping cart gets mysteriously filled every payday. Next, take time to organize your accounts. You might find that you've opened multiple credit cards over the years or have small amounts stashed in different checking accounts that are basically collecting dust. Consolidating them could make it easier to see where you stand. After all, we can't all be Donald Trump with vast real estate holdings and an army of accountants at our beck and call. Most of us just need clarity so we can make better choices. And here's a little trick: find an accountability partner. Think of it like a gym buddy, but for your finances. It could be a friend, a sibling, or even a mentor, someone you trust who can help keep you on track. Share your goals, check in regularly, and remind each other why you started this journey in the first place. Because at the end of the day, the best antidote to money stress is knowledge, organization, and a touch of mutual support. So, where does that leave us? Inflation may be a thorn in everyone's side, but for Gen Z, it's also a pivotal moment, a chance to reevaluate how they approach life's big-ticket dreams and everyday indulgences. From grocery store sticker shock to the sinking feeling at the gas pump, these experiences are sparking conversations about money in places they rarely happened before. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this is the moment we stop letting cash slip through our fingers like sand and start recognizing its true value. If you've ever felt that pang of regret after a late-night shopping spree or found yourself dwelling on a travel plan that might have to wait, remember, these challenges can be the foundation of a smarter, more intentional life. This channel is all about inspiring each other to make the most of tough situations, so let's help each other out in the comments. How has inflation changed your day-to-day routine? What's the most eye-opening thing you've learned about your own habits lately? And, of course, if you're new here and found value in this conversation, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with a friend who might need a nudge in the right direction. After all, becoming more financially mindful isn't just about cutting back on coffee runs or skipping that extra streaming service. It's about forging a relationship with money that leaves us more resilient, more confident, and ready for whatever surprises tomorrow might bring.